everyone, Intuitive Edge here. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. This is where we take an intuitive look at what's going on in our world. So I want to talk about what's happening in Virginia with their recent push for all things related to gun. Gun control to the extreme, to the max. So what's going on with this? I want to take a look at it. And I'm going to do a two-part with this video. So the first part, we're going to be looking at Governor Northam and the Democrats and what their aims and aspirations are. And part two, we'll be looking at the upcoming rally and the patriot pushback that some people are doing. So let's see what we have to begin with. We're going to look at what led up to this, kind of what's happening now, hidden influences, obstacles, that kind of thing. What should be done? What should the Democrats be doing that maybe they haven't thought of or are not doing now? And then the ultimate outcome for this. So I'm going to shuffle up this deck here and just ask the right and perfect cards fall in the right and perfect order. And just I always pray for the highest good to come through my readings and the highest truth also. Okay, so the first card out is the Vortex card. This is the Devil card. It's on the question of the past and what led up to this. So what's been happening going into this? Now, as you see this vortex, getting caught up in the vortex, the Devil card is about bondage, being caught into something that is a negative, kind of like a negative vortex feeling, but that like self-fulfilling prophecy of doom. It's kind of it's a getting stuck in a rut and having a difficult time finding your way out of it. Now, when I look at this card and I see that vortex getting caught, you think of like a tornado, kind of what that looks like when it comes through and it brings in a big shift or a big change. This feels like there was a big shift or big change that kind of also precipitated this. And I wonder if that is simply the change that they had at the last election that kind of brought this to the forefront. Now, what is happening now? We have the King of Pentacles. This is a card, a very strong energy of taking authority and control. The King of Pentacles can sometimes indicate an overbearing type of energy of a leadership. Now, this particular deck, I don't do reversals. Everything's upright. So I'm just kind of giving the overview of this energy of this card can be the hallmark of a difficult leader or a challenging leader. So the question next is the hidden influences, the things that we don't see. And I've got a chariot on this. This is taking control of a situation. And the key word is movement. Now, when I look at this card, taking control of a situation, this is a major arcana. And when I see that on what's hidden behind the scenes, it tells me that there's been a lot going on behind the scenes in terms of taking control and actually moving in this situation. So this isn't just something that sprang up willy-nilly, that just, let's go confiscate guns and put forth extreme gun legislation. No, this feels like this has been in the works for a while, maybe in the pipelines for a while, that there's been movement on this issue for some time as a hidden influence. Okay. The obstacle that the Democrats face, now there's a Queen of Pentacles. So a grounded earth energy, the counterpart to that King of Pentacles. Now, interesting, the keyword is kindness on this deck. As an obstacle, perhaps having some kindness and compassion for what they're doing and understanding how it's going to impact their fellow constituents and their fellow Virginians. Taking these types of radical steps against your neighbors, that element of kindness might be being left out in that consideration. The environment. So what is going on in the field around this situation? Now we have the Page of Pentacles, Messenger. The key word on this is opportunity. So it seems as though that the environment right now is seeing the opportunity to strike while the iron is hot and to make a mark and to do as much as they can, it seems like. So taking advantage of the opportunity that they have while they control both houses, the Senate and the House in their state, and also the governorship. Which is why gridlock is a good thing, but I'll get into that later. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next card, what should be done? Okay, so what should the Democrats be doing? Now, this is a major arcana. It's the Hermit card. This is a card of going within, paying attention to the inner voice, listening to inner wisdom, and taking time to really contemplate your actions. So on this question, what should be done, tells me that this isn't being done, that they're not taking the necessary time out to really think this through and how it will impact their neighbors, and thinking about the ramifications of what they're trying to propose. So that does need to happen. Along with that is hearing the other side, getting other opinions, and de-escalating the tensions that are arising at this time. Now, the last card on this segment for part 1 is the outcome. Now, I do have a 8 of Pentacles with the keyword of achievement. This is a card of working hard on something and getting things accomplished. So, unfortunately for gun owners, it looks as though there may be some success with regard to some of this legislation being pushed through. Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be pushback or repeals down the road, or, that's, we'll get into that maybe in the next segment. But initially, it looks like there may be some movement forward with regard to these draconian style gun laws that they're proposing. And underneath this seems to kind of corroborate that, because we have the 10 of Cups, which is a card of completion and a card of success. Okay. So I'm going to shuffle up and do part 2. And so stay tuned. Thank you. Okay, so as a result of what's been taking place there, the constituents in Virginia, along with people across the country who are wanting to support them, they've decided to host a rally at the Capitol building on January 20th. Now, so I have a few questions I want to ask about this. So the rally, what led up to this rally? And I've got the Hope card. So the Hope card is basically what it says. It's about hope. It's about finding a pathway through the chaos. And I think that has given people hope that maybe by gathering together with other like-minded people, gathering at the Capitol building, maybe they can raise their voices in unison and make a difference. Now, what is happening now? I've got the 9 of Pentacles. This is similar to the previous 8 of Pentacles, but of working hard and accomplishment. This is a sense of satisfaction at getting what you need or what you want fulfilled. So it's kind of being fulfilled, a sense of value and fulfillment. So that could be happening now in terms of getting what they need with maybe the turnout they're wanting, or something to that effect, with having a positive impact at this rally. Now, the hidden influences. What's going on behind the scenes with this rally? I've got the World card, another major arcana. Now, this is a card of success, being on top of the world, literally, and the keyword regeneration. What comes to me with this card is staying with the flow, not breaking the rhythm. So it's a matter of getting into a cycle of flow and staying with it, the momentum of it, and keeping that momentum going and not letting it slide and not becoming complacent. This has to build for them to be successful. So just as we see with that circle, that unbroken circle, it needs to continue for that success to be realized. Now, obstacles that the gun owners face, we're looking at the 10 of Wands. This is a card of taking on added responsibility. So the obstacle they may be facing is in terms of taking on more. In other words, this is becoming an active participant, no longer someone who can just kind of live your life and think that everything's going to turn out fine. This is having to actually take on responsibility for the life that you want to create. And I think a lot of gun owners are starting to realize that if they want to make a positive change, they're going to have to get involved and actually make some noise and go through the process that way. They can't just sit on their laurels and expect other people to take care of things, because their rights are on the line. And I think a lot of people are probably starting to understand that. So this is taking on extra responsibility in that regard. Now, the next two cards next three cards are all major arcana. A lot of major arcanas came up with this reading. 3 in the last segment and 5 with this segment with 7 cards out. So interesting with that. The next card out is on the environment. What's happening around the environment with them? We've got the Death card. And as you see the word there, keyword, transformation. This is what the Death card is in tarot. It's all about major change. Sometimes major change can be unwanted change, and it can feel like a death. Sometimes things have to die in order to be reborn. So death is a process. It's also a gateway to transform into something new. So the old is going by the wayside and being transformed into something new. Now, what should the gun owners be doing? Now, I asked that question. These are the same questions I asked for the last segment, so I wanted to keep the questions the same, but for different focus. So for the gun owners, what should they be doing? Now, interesting card on this. Now, if you follow my channel for any length of time, you know whenever I see the Lovers card come up, this is a major arcana, and this is not talking about, a loving husband, wife, spouse relationship. This is a business-minded partnership. This is big. This is taking on more responsibility, also similar to this card, taking on responsibility. But it's in a business kind of way, a very business-like kind of manner. So the patriots may need to connect with one another on a more official business level and treat this as a business transaction. Now, that may sound kind of strange, but this is no longer just about individual people. This is about coming together in a partnership. So the patriot gun owners that care about their gun rights need to come together and form partnerships on a bigger level. Maybe it means forming a business out of it. That could be. It's forming partnerships so that there's maybe strength in numbers and uniting in one voice together, so that it's not just one group here, one person over there. This is coming together, making a difference in a bigger way to have a bigger impact. Now, the outcome for the patriots, patriot gun owners is what I call them, we have another major arcana. This is the first card, number 1, in the deck of tarot. This is the Magician card. This is taking everything at your disposal, bringing everything that you have to the fore, and using every power that you have at your disposal to make the change that you want to see. So this, I think, this actually feels good on the outcome for them, that they will be able to bring their talents, their skills, their people, come together, resource, network, that kind of thing. And maybe this rally is going to be about that. It's networking with other like-minded people and finding people that you connect with. And hey, let's not just connect, but let's actually build a coalition together. And that may come out of this, I'm wondering. But there's potential for that. There's potential for some type of larger scale coalition, for lack of a better word for it, to come together out of this. So be open to that, gun owners. Be open to that. There's a lot of power with that, and there's a lot of energy behind that if that's the route that people take. Now, underneath all of this, I have the Sadness card, and that's not terribly surprising given what this is and what the gun owners are facing. These are basically good people that are having their rights being infringed upon, and a very sacred right to many. Now, I know people that don't understand gun owners and don't like guns, but if you were to talk to a responsible gun owner, it might be very educational what they have to say about it. It's not just people wanting to go crazy and be paranoid about their neighbors and, walk around with guns in the air all the time. No. These people I've talked to, little segue here, that own guns, the last thing that the people I know ever want is to get into a gunfight. That's not why people get guns. They don't want to end up in a gun battle. That's the last thing they want. But they want to have that option to protect themselves if trouble comes to them, okay? And so people train. They get proficient, they go to the range, and they get good at knowing how to handle their guns so that they're not careless and stupid, and so that they're accurate if ever they have to be in a life or death situation. So anyway, I know there's lots of thoughts on gun control and all of that to say, and I guess I'll wrap this segment up with that. But all of that to say that the networking end of things for this looks favorable for the folks involved at the rally. Now, some have been worried that something bad might happen at the rally, that there might be sleepers, cells, or people that maybe want to go and cause trouble. And that may be. There's always, a few in every crowd, troublemakers and whatnot. I didn't get any sense of something being overly disruptive, so maybe that's good. For me, this rally looks to be something that is more of a networking thing for responsible gun owners that care about their Second Amendment rights. So that's what I have for this. Okay. So I just want to mention with this that any type of action that you take, any of us take, that infringes on the inherent rights of another human being, violate natural law. And that is where you get into the law of karma and consequences, when you violate natural law. Now, people justify in their heads all the time reasons why they feel justified in doing things that harm other people and violate other people's rights. And it doesn't matter if anyone feels justified or not. The universe doesn't have value judgments when it comes to actions that we take. The actions speak for themselves. There is no, well, I meant well. You could mean well and make a really bad decision that hurts somebody, and you're not absolved from the repercussions from your actions. Now, there may be some grace involved with God, for lack of a better term, source, that helps us learn from our mistakes, but we don't get absolved from our mistakes because we justified our actions. The ends don't justify the means when it comes to natural law. It's pretty clear and pretty simple, actually. So if you err on the side of don't infringe on anyone else's rights, you're going to pretty well steer clear of having karmic repercussions. So, but people have to learn the hard way sometimes. And it's always best if we can learn from other people's mistakes rather than having to repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again. So hopefully this situation can be resolved and the people can live in peace again. And this escalating that is happening right now can kind of de-escalate. And the only one really that can do that right now is Governor Northam. He's the one in the driver's seat with this, and he could absolutely easily de-escalate this entire thing, put a nice big blanket pillow on it, and snuff out the fire if he wanted to. Whether he'll do that remains to be seen. I don't think he will. Seems like they're dead set on doing, this regardless of what other people think, and not taking that time out with that hermit card that we saw in self-reflection over what you're doing. That's what should be done, according to tarot. But anyway, this is why I love to talk about natural law, and I'll get into this more later, but I think I want to wrap this up here and leave it at this. So anyway, that's all I have for this. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. This has been Intuitive Edge. Bye for now.